I gotta stop for a second. Just bear with me, guys. Hang on a second. Up share, because I gotta do something else first. Share my sound. Try this again. Okay, I'll try.
Hello, hello.
I don't see us on Facebook.
We don't see us on Facebook?
No, we're not live on Facebook, but we are on YouTube.
We are live on the broadcast.
Yay!
Oh, hold on a second. Just talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Amongst ourselves. All right.
I'll try this again.
So, anybody watch Heartland? Is that just me? Am I the only sappy guy here?
Probably.
I must be. Anyway, we missed the last of. We thought we watched the season finale, and we didn't. We missed it. So that was like months ago. So then we figured out how to get on CBC Gem, and then we got to watch it yesterday. So anyway,
Did it end the way you wanted it to?
well, it's a seasonal end, so it's going to continue. But no, it didn't.
Oh.
Oh, so now but that's they're masters of cliffhangers, right? So yeah. So anyway, it'll be good. Be good to see it come up in the spring. That's usually when they have it out. So, but it's actually a show that's recorded in between Calgary and High River in Alberta. In fact, it's in the High River parts is the same place that the original Superman movie was shot.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. A little trivia for those people who want go see the original Clark Kent. So there's a little they've got a little train station museum in there, and a lot of the programs and shows that were filmed there, they have some of the memorabilia there. So the Clark Kent's original cape from there is there, and there's a bunch of that kind of cool stuff. And so yeah, it's a great little town. Chris's son or daughter lived there.
Where?
In High River.
High River. Yeah, my daughter.
Your daughter, yeah. Yeah, so it's about probably about an hour's drive, almost an hour outside of Calgary, and going south and right into the mountains. Just beautiful, beautiful place.
We're going to have a little bit of problem with Facebook tonight because it doesn't seem to want to pick up, but I might get a chance to look at it once we have our first intro. But everybody's coming over to YouTube. I'll announce on Facebook that people can get us on YouTube. But anyway, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday Night Offering of Astronomy Edutainment, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. Hey! That's how it goes, Jenna. Chris Curran, I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay. I'm also an amateur astronomer and a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. Hey! I'd like to welcome back my two regular co-hosts this evening, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moon Shadow Observatory in beautiful Hampton. Paul, hey.
Good evening.
And Mr. Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory in beautiful St. John. Mike. beautiful icy St. John right now.
Yeah, my door's starting to blow open. Give me a second.
Yeah. Okay, we'd like to welcome all of you from YouTube this evening. I'm going to see what's going on with Facebook here. Well, once we get chatting. Anyway, on tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, now the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada is a national non-profit charitable organization devoted to the advancement of astronomy and related sciences. It includes 5,100 or so members from about 30 centers across the country. Now, founded in 1868, the RASC aims to enhance knowledge of astronomy and promote astronomical research. This is a lot to say. Now, tonight, our guest will be Executive Director of the RASC, Jenna Hinds. Jenna Hinds started her career in marine biology, studying at Mount Allison University in Sackville. Realizing she was a better communicator than she was a scientist, she went on to pursue a master's degree in science communication at the University of Edinburgh. After a few years working for the Ontario Science Centre, she started working at the RASC as an outreach coordinator, assisting the Society's many centres in bringing astronomy to enthusiasts across the country. Now, following a brief hiatus, she returned to RASC as the Executive Director in 2023, and we welcome Jenna to our show tonight. Welcome, Jenna.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to being here.
Welcome. Also tonight, Bino Bud will be return with another Fine Binocular Target of the Week.
Yeah.
I will be delivering another Rosanna's Fun Fact episode. I'll have a quick look at our calendar for the week coming up, and of course, all of your wonderful photo submissions. So let's get started on tonight's program and a talk with Jenna about RASC and its important role in outreach and education.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'll mention as well that I got to meet at least Mike and Chris, at least you two, maybe Paul, I can't remember. I think back in 2019.
Beach.
Yeah. Back on the beach by Irving Nature Park.
Yeah.
Early on in my career at the RASC. So it's good to see you all again virtually. And yeah, the work that you've done over over your careers, but especially with the Sunday Night Astronomy Show and your time on the beach is just fantastic. So I'm very happy to be among such accomplished astronomers. So yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about the RASC. I've been at the RASC for sort of on and off for about 5 years or so. And the RASC is sort of like a big overarching umbrella organization that has a bunch of smaller clubs across Canada that really do most of the work. So the clubs are out doing the good stuff, showing the sky to everybody, boots on the ground kind of thing. And then us at National, we just try to make things, I know maybe this is maybe not what everybody thinks, but try to make things easier for people by doing all of the administrative work and the background stuff and supporting our centers where we can with programming. And so we have a bunch of different programs that we do, and we can talk about a little bit about all of them. The one thing I wanted to highlight, and I haven't actually gotten to highlight this a lot in any of my talks, but we put out publications that some people use, some people don't. We have a book that's the Observer's Handbook, which has everything you could possibly want to know about the sky for the year. And that's not just the basics. There is the basics in there, but it's things like which asteroids are going to occult which stars at which time and from what perspective, so that if you're interested, you can try to image it. It has a lot of detail in there. And we have a calendar as well that has a fair bit of observing detail in it. And I think one of my favorite things about the organization is that by being so big and having so many parts across the country, we are big enough that we can do projects like that and create publications that even if it's not something that every single one of our members loves, it is undoubtedly contributing to astronomy in Canada. And so that's one of the things I'm most proud of our organization. And then, of course, I'm always most proud of our centers too. I think everybody who's actually out and doing stuff is they're what makes us who we are. The other two things that the big things that I wanted to touch on is that we also run dark sky site programs. So Irving Nature Park, I believe, is one of our dark sky sites. And we have quite a number across Canada, essentially just highlighting parks and organizations that are doing what they can to keep our skies dark. Which is, if anybody lives in a city, I'm unfortunately from Toronto, and we get, half a dozen stars that we can see. And so there's nothing like living in a city to remind you how important it is to protect your night skies. And so we run our dark sky program. And to do that, I think one of the most interesting ones is Jasper National Park, because they've got the whole city that's inside the park. And that's actually quite a unique way they do that. They manage that because the whole city is owned by Parks Canada. They can just build bylaws into and build rules into every single contract that they have with anybody. It's quite a way to manage something like that.
Isn't it the case that a lot of places in the western provinces, even like a lot of the townships are now adopting dark sky?
Yeah, there's been actually quite a push for dark sky, I guess, as a way of promoting astrotourism, kind of.
Right.
But there's a big push for protecting dark skies, especially on the right now. There's a big push on the coast, the Sunshine Coast of BC.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've heard quite a few rumblings about dark skies in New Brunswick as well.
Yeah. The reason I say that, I think a little bit of that is because there's so much auroral activity out there in certain places, like certainly that we don't get here as often. And
Mhm.
we don't get it as grandeur as they do, except for the big ones that we've had in the last little bit.
Did you guys get to see
And
those? Did
what's that?
you guys get to see those?
Oh, wow. It was unbelievable. In fact, in the one in May, I was in Vancouver when that one happened, and it was just, it was just the best aurora I've ever seen. And
Yeah.
then we had another one. When was it, Mike? In August here?
October.
October,
Yeah.
yeah. And then,
October.
October.
And
That's
it was
here.
another. Yeah, there's some shots there. It was another corker. But I think a lot of these things that are happening because we've had so many celestial events happen in the last year that the dark sky stuff is becoming more prominent because now people are getting way more interested in it.
Mhm.
And now, of course, with the onslaught of SpaceX and all the other things that are going on in space exploration, that whole avenue is opening up. So there's a lot more opportunity for people to get involved. And of course, the interest is there. Are you finding that that's the case where you are?
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems to be very like is every time there's a big sort of event, especially the aurora, like you were talking about, there's a sudden wave of where do I go? Where do I go to see this stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, what
And
time?
yeah, and it's this, it's different in different places. At least I know in St. John when we were out on the beach, you could see the Milky Way, which is awesome that you can have that level of dark sky so close to
Yeah.
a residential area.
Yeah.
But for folks in Toronto, everybody's sort of just taking a 3-hour hike north of the city to go find just some minimal dark skies. I unfortunately missed the aurora, but it has brought a ton more people, I think, into astronomy. It's such an accessible way to get excited about space. You don't
Yeah.
need special equipment to see it. Your phone can take pictures of it. Like it's just, it's such an easy entry, and it's just so cool.
Yeah.
It's those type of entries to me that's what people look like. It's the ones that don't take anything for equipment, and meteor showers, lunar eclipses like we have coming up soon, the solar eclipse coming up soon. All these things are things that people can just sit and watch, and that's what seems to be fascinating people a lot more. So we are getting a huge new showing of people coming into the hobby for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. I found, it's interesting to see the different ways that media plays into it because for example, I don't know if you guys saw there was a huge wave of interest about the planetary parade,
Yeah.
which is neat, but a lot of it was wrong. A lot of it was saying it was like, oh, we have to see it January 25th. And it was like, no, you've got lots of time.
You know what I found out about the media, and because especially doing this show, when they call you up and they want to do a segment, it is so fast because they're just doing segment after segment after segment because like everything else, they're doing everything now. They're the camera operators. They do it all, and that's what happens is they don't get enough information to give the correct information.
Yeah, you have
You
to
know?
be. That was actually when and this is getting more into me and less into the RAC, but when I did my degree in science communication, it was that how do you boil something down to be accurate, but digestible, like short and interesting. And it's a challenge. It's hard to get it right. Astronomy is particularly complex. And so you have to choose the right bits and pieces. And oftentimes the media doesn't know what the right bits and pieces are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, Chris does a lot of shows, radio interviews and stuff. And so again, you got, like you said, you gotta, okay, this is what I got to talk about. What are the talking points and how can you keep it so that it's, like you said, digestible? And
Yeah, because you got
So,
5 o'clock and or 10 at the very most, and what do you want to cover? And inevitably, you'll get off on a different topic, kind of part of it, because you want to get all that information in that short period of time. So I'm talking at 100 miles an hour when I'm doing interviews. It's just, okay, I got to squeeze this into, I get sheets all in front of me, trying to cover every little piece of what, but it's way, it's way too much for me to get too in deep into, because really you're just trying to get one point across, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
So here's a question for you, Jenna.
Yeah.
Because you were involved in marine biology, how did you end up in astronomy? Because they're quite different in nature.
Yeah. It's the opposite directions. So I do love the ocean. I've been a scuba diver since I was 13, so I've spent a lot of time underwater, and I love it. But as I mentioned, it's not that I wasn't that good at science. I loved it, but I just, you get results from something, and you're doing the science, like the whole scientific process, and you get the results, and you're like, man, those aren't the results I want. It'd be just so much easier if I could make it up, and you can't. So I just figured, it's not for me, and I switched to science communication, and I got into astronomy actually from working at the Science Center in Ontario. There's a planetarium in it, and partway through my time there, I was a host. It was the best, like the most fun job you can ever have. It was one of those just, you get to talk about science and do shows and hold snakes and various things. and they gave me the keys to the planetarium, and I tell you, I don't think there's a better way to learn about space than to have access to a planetarium.
Yeah.
You just get to, and they just gave you time in there, and you play with the settings, and you look at the universe, and you try to find what you think is cool. And honestly, I think that really helped the rest of my career, because I started from nothing. I didn't know anything about space. And so I got to figure out what I thought was cool, and then I got to share that with everybody around me. So
Yeah.
that was what got me into it. And the Toronto Center of the RASC used to do observing at the Science Center every Saturday.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's programs too. I think Chris mentioned that Emma's going to come on sometime a little later, but maybe you can make mention of the type of things that, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but even if you're not a RASC member, you can still get access to some of these programs.
Yeah, I will mention the certificates, the observing certificates, because that's, I think, one of the big highlights of the society.
Right.
We have a couple different types of certificates that you can get. Visual observers, there's a whole bunch. There's moon ones, and like really detailed moon ones. The Messier objects, double stars, that's a newer program. MGC objects, and then we have one of those programs, Explore the Universe, is meant to be that introduction to taking out your telescope and using it and finding stuff in the sky, and that anyone can do. You don't have to be a member to get that one. If you get all the objects, you get a certificate and a pin, and people love the pins. Everybody likes to collect them, and well, yeah, who doesn't love a pin? So that's our big one, and then you can it guides you into how to use your scope, and how to be a good observer, and how to write down your observations and sketch stuff. I'm terrible at sketching stuff, and that was a great program to remind me that it kind of doesn't matter if you're terrible. It's a good thing to do to keep track of what you've been looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have astro imaging programs as well, or certificate programs as well. Those I think we can always do more for our astro imagers, but we have 3 certificates: deep sky, wide field, and solar system. And again, it's a great way, especially the solar system one, I think, is a great way to get started in astrophotography. You can do quite a bit with just, either if you have a DSLR and a tripod, or even sometimes with your phone, you can do some pretty good stuff. And it's a great way to learn how to use your devices. So I think that's probably at least one of my favorite programs. We have other outreachy stuff as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of for actual people going out and getting into astronomy, I think those are great. Yeah. Have you guys done any of the observing programs?
I haven't.
I haven't either.
I got my Messier.
You done Messier?
Yeah, I got my Messier.
Well
We're
done.
slackers on that stuff.
It's not-
Actually, when I first started doing the Messier, astrophotography wasn't what it is today. And I actually asked them, because I wanted to go out, but I can't get somebody to go with me to be a witness. So if I stuck my webcam in and took a picture, would that be acceptable? And the answer was, well, yes. So that's how I actually started, was in the astrophotography, was shoving a modified webcam in my
Good for
telescope
you.
and taking the photographs of the Messier objects. Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. That's awesome. That's a great way that's a really neat, innovative way to keep track of the observations. And the programs aren't for everybody. I mean, I haven't actually made it all the way through any of them either. But just getting like even just starting on the Explore the Universe was great. For getting an idea of how to use your scope. We have one member who is a hair's width away from getting every single certificate that we have.
Wow.
Wow, really? Wow.
Yeah, he's
That's
been
great.
That's awesome.
absolutely cruising through it. It's definitely a fun program, and it's fun to collect the pins. We also actually have, and I'll mention this, noting that I haven't told any of our members about this yet, so this is a little bit of a surprise. But
You're first on Sunday Night Show.
you're first on Sunday Night
That's
Show.
yeah.
But we have an annual conference that we put on, the General Assembly, where we try to do. Usually it's outreach training kind of stuff, but this year we're pushing a little bit more just introductory astronomy classes. And focusing on astro-tourism, and because of this massive interest in the aurora and dark sky sites, and so we're going to be pushing things like how to take pictures of the aurora with your phone, and how to take intro astrophotography photos with just a DSLR and a tripod. So that's happening last weekend of April 25th to 27th. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, we put that on every year. And it's always my favorite because that's my background. I like doing outreachy stuff.
So do you have a speaker that's going to be taking care of that, or is it?
That's why I haven't really done any advertising yet. We are still working on building up our speakers. I know it's a little bit on the later side, but we will have. I don't want to announce anybody yet.
No, that's fine.
But you can pay attention to our social media, and we'll have some announcements.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's encouraging. I mean, now especially with we see so many people that would never attempt astrophotography, but they're doing it now because of the smart telescopes that are out there. So we're seeing so many people now. And Chris, I mean, how many people that send in their photos that typically, may struggle with a DSLR, but
Is that like the sea stars and stuff?
Sea stars,
yeah, sea stars and the dwarfs, and
very, very popular now. And also they're being used for outreach as well, because I mean, in communities where you've got bad light pollution, you can still offer, a galaxy or two. Easily. So people
that was our friend that brought the astronomer there from down towards Burlington.
Yeah, Mark.
He just got one because he can show people like galaxies and things from the beach down there.
Yeah.
In the city right behind him.
It's pretty amazing and I know there's sort of like an old school group of thought that's sort of like, well, you should be using a telescope and looking with your eyes and everything. But if you're just someone who doesn't get outside of a city, like the city glow,
right?
How are you even going to know that you're interested in this stuff if you don't use assisted devices?
Yeah, it's a good open door entry level way to get into that. And you may find yourself that taking the pictures is fun, but you may find yourself graduating into a telescope because you want to get to a darker sky now because I know what's out there, and even taking that little thing along with you, plunk it in on the ground, getting your pictures. But at the same time, now I'm in a dark sky with my telescopes. While it's gathering the data, I'm going to enjoy my views.
The other side of the coin is it makes it accessible for people that might not be able to get up and look into an eyepiece.
Exactly.
Right.
Walk over with a tablet and show them and say, here, this is what we're looking at. They're amazed. It gives those people an opportunity to see what's up there too, without having to, maybe wheel a wheelchair or something up to a telescope. And that just opens everything wide.
It's awesome.
Even before those were out, Mike developed a little suitcase monitoring system that he would take down to St. Therese Beach. You've been there. And some people couldn't get out of the car, so he would walk that thing up to them so they could see what we were looking at with that device.
Eyepiece,
The tears started streaming down. I'd never thought in my life I'd be able to see anything like that. These smart telescopes are offering that same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. So anyway, so there's lots of
level too with beginner scopes. A lot of time, you've got the EQ mount type scopes, and they are confusing. Like they're tough for beginners, and they're tough for me. These guys know that. But, it's nice to have an alt-az type. It's just like a simple Dobsonian. Well, if people start it with once you get into a telescope and you find it frustrating, where does it go? In your closet.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. And that's the thing about the S50s as well, like the Sea Star. They're easier to use. They're laid out for somebody to as a beginner to get in and get good results, right away. So it keeps the people interested in the hobby. If your thing's binoculars, great. If your thing's just go out and have a look at the sky, that's fine too. If you'd like to take a picture, that's great. Sea star is another angle to bring people into the hobby, right? To invite them in, I think so. Yeah, they really are becoming very popular right now.
I haven't seen one actually in use before, so
Oh.
I haven't been to any Toronto Center meetings, but Mississauga Center I know has one, which is just a little bit
Yeah.
further away. And
Yeah.
they get great use out of it. So it's, yeah, fantastic to have just more tools to bring the sky to people.
Exactly.
Well, up at your center, you've got a few telescopes on display from yesteryear, do you not?
We do, yeah. So we have the national office has a bunch of, for the most part, Canadian-made amateur telescopes, so
Mhm.
made by non-professionals. And I will tell you, David Levy donated his telescope Miranda to us, and that was one of the biggest like non-technical challenges I've had because our building is very old, and we have a loading dock, which is sort of like on an alleyway. So it has to have, the truck has to have somewhere where you can turn and kind of bring the device or whatever you have into the loading dock. And first of all, the truck didn't have that. Second of all, the scope was too big for the freight elevator, and so they just said, "Too bad," and left it in the alleyway.
Oh
Wow.
And so we ended up we disassembled it, we put it on a dolly, and we took it for a walk on College Street, and then managed to bring it into the building and then tip the scope at the right angle so it would fit in the freight elevator. And now it's just this great big behemoth in our office.
Did you feel just a little bit like John Dobson?
Yeah.
Just a little bit, yeah. We have some really interesting scopes in there, and a lot of scopes that I don't have as much history on them as I should. I know we have a lot of Brashear scopes. There's some people who are really, really into the history, and yeah, some absolutely beautiful ones. And it's particularly cool because we have the scope, and you can go and find books from like the early 1900s with photos of that scope.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's some neat historic ones there.
So is that something that's open to the public?
It is open to the public in that it's also our office, and so if people want to come in, they have to let us know, and we'll be there. We're there usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Okay.
So usually Monday to Thursday. So usually people can come in, but we only have 3 staff members, and so if someone's sick or if there's a snow day, like on Thursday,
Yeah.
sometimes the office is closed. So we haven't quite got it to that point where it's open all the time. But you can always schedule time to come in with us, and if even better, you can schedule time to come in with our archivist who knows everything about everything in there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good little, it's sort of like a little museum, and we have a bunch of other stuff in there that even the non-historians in the group find interesting, like meteorites that you can hold on to. We have a bit of Mars in there as well, which is kind of cool. Old paintings. We have gorgeous work from the late 1800s. Like sort of paper cut observations of the Saturn and lunar occultation. Fantastic work from a really long time ago that you can't see in that many other places. So
Yeah.
always happy to have visitors.
Sure.
Just
So
a bit of a hike. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it's a bit of a hike depending on where you are in the country.
So 30 centers across the country, right?
Yep.
And so pretty well everywhere in the country you're able to join a group somewhere. One of the centers.
The one place we don't have, which I'd love to get, we have about 10 members from there, but they're not a center, and that's Iqaluit. We don't have anybody in Nunavut at all.
Okay.
In terms of a center. We do, and we don't have anybody in the Northwest Territories, but we do have Whitehorse. We have a Yukon Center up in Whitehorse. They have an observatory that you can go to.
Yeah.
And then we have sort of coast to coast from St. John's all the way over to Victoria out in BC.
Yeah.
We have quite a number of people and quite a number of centers, and all very different. Like we have one center that's only 13 people, and then we have Calgary Center, which is sometimes up to 600. So lots of
Really?
variety across the country.
Yeah.
Wow, that's huge.
There's a lot of I guess what's the word? I guess it would be tourism to a degree, but where they from the Calgary Center or the people in that area where that around the mountains, that you can take you up and you can do nighttime observing from up in the mountains. Is that correct?
They do. So this is something I mean, there may be. I know that one volunteer in particular out in Calgary Center hosts full moon hikes and full moon skis, where it's not so much observing, but they'll all go out and on a full moon and just go up into the mountains and go skiing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
right.
and so yeah, there's sort of each of the it's really interesting. Each of the centers has sort of the thing that they like to do, and often they're a little bit different in each place. And Calgary's got some really great stuff. They have a fantastic observatory that they just upgraded as well.
Yeah. Is that right in the city, or is it on the outskirts?
South of the city, I think, is where it
So, okay.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful country up there.
It is, yeah, and this is, I think, another one of the benefits of this sort of national organization is that you can, when you're going traveling to places, it's kind of fun to like ask the center that's nearby or connect with the center that you're going to. We get a lot of that where
Yeah.
folks from BC will be heading out to Nova Scotia and then they'll drop by the Nova Scotia Center. Um, Makes you feel like you're in less of a bubble. And you get to talk to, yeah, I don't know, everyone's got different experiences. You get to hear about stuff. It's a good way to get inspired to meet people from all across the country.
Sure.
Or drop by, Saints Rest Beach, come in there once in a while,
Yeah, just drop by.
your way through.
Exactly. I've been lucky in this role that I've gotten to. I've had to do it on my own sort of own time and own dime, but I like to travel, and so every time that I go somewhere, I'm like, maybe I can go see the center that's nearby too. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, understood.
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Well, thank you, Jenna.
Yeah.
It's been great to have you on here chatting a little bit about RASC. I mean, I've been a member for quite a while, and it's great to be able to get this information out to everybody else too. If somebody does want to join RASC, what's the best method?
If you just head to rasc.ca, there's a join now button and you can sign up. We have with those centers, you can be a part of a center or you can be part of national. I would recommend being part of a center. You get a lot out of having a center membership. And I know I don't know where your members are, but if you're in New Brunswick, New Brunswick's got little kind of
Little
one of the
pockets.
little pockets, which is cool. Our Okanagan Center is like that too, where it has sort of three headquarters almost. Um, you get so much more. You get meetings, you get interacting with people in real life, which is nice. So it's you can head to rasc.ca and hit join now and check it out, and maybe try some of our observing programs, maybe visit some of our dark sky sites.
Like that idea. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jenna.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we're going to go from there, then right on to Vinyl Bud.
I know, bud.
Hi.
You ready for this?
Oh, boy.
This one kind of has to do with what's going on with our night right now, as you can tell. Binocular target of the week by Bino Bud is home plate, believe it or not. As I'm sliding in, knocking my coffee over. Well, this asteroid field is located just west of M31, the Andromeda Galaxy, which is very conspicuous in a pair of binoculars. But with that pair of binoculars, if you had a field of view of about 7.5 degrees, you can barely get home plate and M31 in the same field of view, actually. So it's quite exciting. But if you stepped outside tonight, you would run into what I call the Starry Night observation worthlessness.
So,
Because this is what's going on outside my window right now. But on a clear night, if it was clear tonight, you could look to the west at 290 degrees west-northwest at 9 o'clock. Look up, you'll see Venus starting to set, but you can also see the Great Square of Pegasus. If you drew a line through Venus, right through those two stars on the Great Square of Pegasus, and went the same distance right in here, that's where home plate is. What does it look like? Well, there's home plate, but look at this. Perfect. The exact same shape, almost the same size as that. So I call that the home plate. In 10 by 50 binoculars, real easy target. Once you're on it, you'll know. Just off to the one side in 10 by 50s, like I said, the Andromeda Galaxy is very, very close. You might even see it as you're trying to circle in towards finding the home plate. But once you're on the home plate and see it, you'll know these two stars that are together right at the tip, and you'll be on it. You'll see exactly what I mean by it looks like home plate. Compared to the full moon, a little bit bigger than the full moon. So very easy target to see, very easy to spot. And are you ready? Here we go. What did the alien say to the cat? Take me to your litter. I really gotta go.
Yeah.
That's Binocular Target of the Week this week by Bino Bud.
oh, man. That was perfect, Mike.
Perfect.
Yeah, sorry, Jenna. This is what happens, when we bring a guest on, they have to sit through this, so.
Are you guys all dads? Because these dad jokes are really good.
Dad jokes, yeah, that's cool. That's what we should call
man.
Dad joke of the week.
Give it to.
Take me to your litter. Oh, that's too funny.
Hey,
Gotta laugh. That's all that matters.
That's all
Okay,
that
we're
matters.
gonna go from there to Rosanna's fun fact.
All right.
Fun
See
fact.
if I can see if I can pull this off.
Okay,
You gotta remember, astronomy is 90% imagination.
it is.
That's right. Just give me 1 second. I'm
Imagine that,
almost.
you gotta imagine that joke was funny.
Okay, just 1 sec. Where did the lay that? There it is. I don't need it open twice, do I? Just give me 1 sec here. There we go. Okay, now it's going to share my screen and we can get on with this. All right. Uh-oh. Stop share. I didn't mean to share that one. Try that again. All right.
And we're live.
Yeah. There we go. All right. Now we can see Rosanna. Can you?
No.
Not yet. There we are.
Yes.
Hey, there she
All
is.
right. And this is this week's.
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Yay. Welcome back, Rosanna, to another fun fact. And Rosanna has an absolutely timely fun fact, as she always does. So let's get right into it. So Rosanna writes, let me get the first picture up because this is kind of important to do. She'll be able to pull off. There we go. All right, let me just get rid of that little thing. Okay, the Friday just passed was Valentine's Day.
We don't see it.
You don't see it?
No, we see Rosanna the video.
Okay, hang on. Why don't you see
The intro. How's that?
Just a sec. What do you see now?
The intro.
That is not right. That's what you should see. You don't see that photo.
No,
Hang on.
I see the
I'm
intro.
going to stop sharing for a second because for some reason it's not picking up that screen 3. There, can you see it now?
Yes.
There we go.
All right, there we
The
go.
hearts.
Technology, what a wonderful thing. Lots of hearts. Okay, let's try this again. So Rosanna writes, hi, Paul. The Friday just passed was Valentine's Day, in case anyone out there missed that on the calendar. Mars, instead of being the war planet, decided to make peace and send us some love. So this kind of makes me feel like I'm supposed to be doing a CAPTCHA test of some sort. The heart in RO4 is the largest at over 3,200 feet wide, with the heart in M11 being only 502 feet wide. All the others fall somewhere in between. All of the images were captured by NASA's Mars Global Surveyor. A fun fact that isn't actually very fun at all is that astronauts living and working in space aren't only subject to a bit of heartache while missing their loved ones each Valentine's Day rolls around. Research aboard the space station suggests that the extended time in microgravity can cause astronauts' hearts to change from oval to round and muscles in the blood vessels to atrophy. To combat this physical change, astronauts must do 2.5 hours of weight-bearing exercise every day while in space. Well, at least Chris Hadfield has a heart, even if it's round and slightly atrophied. I love her little cartoons. And something in the news just these past few days might possibly be making some people's hearts beat faster. Asteroid 2024, YR4, is currently on a monitored trajectory towards Earth. In just the past few days, and the likelihood of impact has risen from 1% to 2.3%, drawing comparisons to the 2004 APHUS event. Now, let me just get that over there. In case you've forgotten what the APHUS event was, back in 2004, the asteroid 99942 APHUS, actually pronounced Apophis, there you go, which is different from the mythological creature of the same name pronounced Apophis. I don't know where she gets them, was a near-Earth asteroid which caused a period of concern in December of that year when calculations and the initial observations indicate a probability of 2.7%. That is that it would hit the Earth on Friday, April 13th, 2029. Additional observations provided improved predictions that eliminated the possibility of impact on Earth. However, a small possibility remained that during in 2029 close encounter with Earth, Apophis would pass through a gravitational keyhole estimated to be about 800 meters in diameter. I think that's the keyhole there. This is a shot from Hubble. I know what you're thinking. What is a gravitational keyhole? A gravitational keyhole is a tiny region of space where a planet's gravity would alter the orbit of a passing asteroid such that the asteroid would collide with the planet on a given future orbital pass. My parents always cautioned me with every action causes a reaction. Thus, our own gravitational field could cause our demise. It would seem like something's coming that we don't. Looking for the asteroid there, apparently. I know what you're thinking. There we go. The word keyhole contrasts the large uncertainty of trajectory calculations between the time of the observations and the asteroid and the first encounter with the planet. With the relatively narrow bundles of critical trajectories, the term was coined by P.W. Codis in 1999. Now, the keyhole, I'm going to make that bigger so you can see it. There you go. The keyhole would have set up a future impact exactly 7 years later on Easter Sunday, April the 13th, 2036. This possibly brought it down to a level 1 on the Torino Impact Hazard Scale from a previous level 4, the highest ever reached since the creation of the scale itself. Finally, in August 2006, the probability that Aphos would pass through the keyhole was determined to be very small, and Aphos's rating on the Torino scale was lowered to 0. Now, asteroid 2024 YR4 is the size of a football field and is roughly the same size as the object flattened a vast expanse of Siberia in 1908. The odds of impact in 2032 have increased, but is still a very unlikely event. Potential impacts areas include parts of Eastern Pacific, Africa, South America, and South Asia, while North America is currently outside the risk zone. Interestingly, on Valentine's Day, it was announced that in a rare time-critical decision, the James Webb Space Telescope will study the true size of the potentially hazardous asteroid 2024 YR4 twice over the next few months. This means by around May or June, more information will be forthcoming. So if your pulse is quickened at the headlines, it's okay to relax, as this asteroid is now on the back burner for a while. For your comfort, I include this chart published February the 10th by one of my favorite comic websites. A comparison of a football field is approximately 91.4 meters by 48.4 meters. So an asteroid headed straight to Earth for that. So here's an asteroid size at 1 centimeter. Good news, meteors are pretty. A 10 centimeter one, great news, you might see a fireball. 1 meter to 10 meters, okay news, unless you have expensive windows, you're very unlikely. 100 meters, bad news, especially if you live near the city it's aimed at. 1 kilometer, bad news, especially if you live on the continent it's aimed at. I'll just skip all the rest and go right to 1,000 kilometers. Good news for any life that might someday evolve on Earth's new moon. And finally, at 10,000 kilometers, bad news for whatever planet is about to get hit by Earth. But rest assured that our big blue and green rock is safe for now. And that is this week's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
As always, she's so timely with her stuff and makes it so interesting. And yeah, so for all those people who are a little afraid of asteroids, don't be feared. Thank you, Rosanna. Awesome. Really appreciate that. You're off, Chris.
I see they're saying about 2% chance now, right? So instead of 2%, the sensationalists are saying 1 in 50 now. 1 chance in 50 might be even better. Yeah. Back off.
Well, now you write the commercial.
Yeah. It sells commercials, I guess. Yeah. Okay, let's go from there then to our photos of the week. Thank you, Rosanna, for that. It's an awesome, timely topic. Let's go to some photos that were submitted to my page. And just give me a second. I'm going to get these shared this way. Find out what I'm doing here. Here, I'll share the screen. Yes.
There we go.
There. Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay. Good. Because this is the one that I missed from last week, and I just got to get my notes up here. 1 second here. Here's my notes. Okay. Yeah. So Brad Perry's picture from last week. Brad says, just sharing this photo submission of Milky Way panorama taken on Thursday morning in the 40-minute window between moonset and the beginning of astronomical twilight. It was -20, yep, and required a 4:50 a.m. alarm. You're dedicated, Brad. So I'm just happy to have committed to getting out of bed for sure. Technical details, he said, in case anyone is curious, sky was seven photo panoramas in 30-degree increments at f1.4, 1 minute at ISO 640 with the star tracker. The ground shot was a 7 photo panorama in 30-degree increments at f2.8, 2 minutes in ISO 1250 without the star tracker. Then me, he says, I reshot the bottom middle frame with me in it afterwards at f2.8, 30 seconds at ISO 1600, because that's about as long as I could stand still. The whole mess was assembled and edited in Lightroom and Photoshop, and he said the final image was cropped down to about half of the full field of view of the panoramas. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love your photos, Barry.
North American Nebula just jumping right out there, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
Beautiful.
All right, let's go on from there. We're going to go to this one from Ken Muscola. Ken's a new contributor here. He says, hello, everyone. Really enjoy your Sunday night show. He said, don't know if it's too late, but that was from last week, but it was a little bit too late, so we're going to bring it on tonight. But here's an image I took with my C-Star S50. So here we are, Jenna, with some of the images that get captured. 1,347 10-second images taken over the past year, stacked in simple stretch with serial, labeled with Photoshop. He says, I hope you enjoy. And he said any feedback would be appreciated. I'd say.
Oh, that's really nice. That's nice. It's nice work, and it's nice detail in the work. I mean, as far as the information, it's fantastic.
He does say a special note is the predominant vertical shadow on the left side of the galaxy. He said this shows consistently in all my previous submissions, as well as on many, on many, if not all, other images on Astrobin. Curious if anyone has been able to explain this appearance. And I can't
really make it out on the. I'm assuming that's a JPEG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough, but sure, there's a story behind it, or maybe it's a galaxy.
Well, I guess the question would be if there's other C-Star users out there shooting galaxies, are they seeing the same thing?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go from there to. Thanks, Ken, for that. I'm going to go from there to Jennifer LG's captures here. Just a couple of moon photos from last evening. This was the other night, of course. Photo was taken just after dark when the moon was still rising in the east. And photo 2 here was taken around 11:30 when the moon was just past zenith. The halo was huge, she says.
Yeah, there's the warning.
That's what we know about. She said, I've been at this astro imaging stuff for less than a year, and I'm not yet willing to splurge on too much in the way of specialized apps, but I have been playing around with SETI's Astro Comic, Clarity SETI, Astro Suites free apps lately. I feel that they have helped me get the stars under control of my C-Star images. And I believe that's one of them here.
Yeah, turned out really well.
Yes, very nice.
Now, if we could just get the trapezium under control, that's the hard one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I wouldn't complain.
Not at all. Great job.
Actually, considering I've seen a lot of Orion photos over the years, and considering that's probably just like a single exposure value that's stacked up, that's pretty controlled.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, you can't see the trap, but you can still see everything else close to the core. So that's really done well.
Real nice.
Yeah.
Like you said, Paul, one of the most photographed objects in the sky.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That and Andromeda are the two hottest for sure.
Okay, I'll go from there. Thanks, Jennifer. Going to go from there to Mark Fitkin's capture here. Clear skies finally, he says, after a dumping of snow. More on the way. Mark is for the Bronte Astronomer. From a standpoint of public astronomy, I love these results, especially how easy the open clusters come through.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the moon interfered with NGC 2403. Plenty of ground lighting again is a challenge, and with traffic whipping by as well, I'm sure.
Still, well, it's getting some
There you
great
go.
detail.
I see 434,
Very nice.
M48. Yeah, nicely done.
Yeah.
These are the first images from a sea star I've seen. They're incredible.
Oh, really? Yeah. No,
Yeah.
they are. They're
If you look at any of those sea star images, because they're typically 10 seconds or so on average, the tracking, the roundness of the stars
Yeah.
on anything I've seen from them is really, really good.
Yeah.
Because you don't really have to worry a great deal about tracking because of the shorter exposures. And boys, oh boys, they're pretty darn impressive.
They are indeed. Thanks, those Mark. Appreciate that. Okay, going to go from there to Kathy Adams' capture here of the
There you go.
Gibbous Moon, February 10th. These are a little bit older shots, but they were brought in. So actually, I went out looking for them. So
Yeah, she's got some color in that too, hey?
She does, yeah.
It's nice. Mike does a lot of that. It's nice to see
The
some
natural,
areas.
the natural view, yeah.
Yeah.
Mineral moon, yeah.
Yeah. Nicely done.
And I think she uses the Dwarf 3, which is
Yeah, she does, yeah.
another version.
Another version,
microscope.
right. I'm going to get from there to Bridget Green's capture here. She said took this from inside the house through an upstairs window as the moon was descending and getting ready to set. Not a very sharp image, but I like the look of the barely waning
very
full
nice.
moon through the spruce tree. Yeah, well done.
Nice work.
And from there, I'm going to go do Oleg. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. I know I am. Oleg Ruminsiev. Sorry if I've made a mess there.
Just tell me you can't make out the writing. That's all.
Yeah, go.
You're forgiven.
Oleg, I'm going to say Oleg. How's that? Took this at 4 a.m. The other night. 4 lucky imaged color channels combined to LRGB and post processing. Nicely done.
There you go.
It's a lot of detail, isn't it?
There is. Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you, Oleg. Great to see all these new contributors as well. Gary Cole's Snow Moon. We had a number of snow moon captures sent in. Thank you, Gary. This one is from Krista Gilbert from Fredericton area.
Mm-hmm.
And we got Deborah Lounsbury's picture as well. Nice big snow moon.
Oh,
And we go to Haley Aaron's picture.
yeah, sure.
All the different views from people. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Get those shots.
Yeah, Lisa Warden's picture of snow moon. Here's Lyndon Cormier's. She said, "Here's a shadow of the moon in casting in my yard tonight."
Wow. Look at the sharpness of
Yeah.
the shadow.
Look at the snow.
Yeah, look at the
Oh, look at the ejector ray.
snow.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you, Lyndon. And Robin Diane LePage captures here the snow moon as well.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you gotta love those pictures, eh?
There's another one, and I think there's one more here. Yeah, right there. So that's another one.
Awesome.
Thank you for those.
Yes.
Monique Robinson for snow moon capture.
Wow.
Nicely done. And there's your second one. Thanks, Monique.
Yes,
All
very nice.
these new contributors, great.
Ooh.
Allison Kanadi here, big and orange. He said, rising over Indian Island, Maine, from Old Town, Maine. Cool.
Oh,
There you go.
nice.
Right on.
And,
It was exciting to see it come through the trees.
No, that wasn't her. That's not. This is her. That last one was.
Oh, okay.
There it is. There it is.
Good.
That's
That's
better.
nice too.
Oh, she caught that well.
She did. Yeah. Very nice. All right, Allison. And going to go from there to Faye Logan's snow moon capture here, just coming up out of the trees.
Yes, sir.
You've got Tammy Carter's picture here, the snow moon, and Paula Woodrow from Dalhousie. Thank you, everybody.
Nice reflection.
Nice
That's
reflection
cool.
there. Andy Geddes from Riverview.
Oh, nice.
Great to see
You
everybody
love
else having a look anyway.
Yeah.
You gotta love the sky when it turns that color, then you start to see the pink.
Yeah, the
So pretty.
what do we call that? The Venus. Oh no.
Delta Venus?
Delta Venus. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is Anna. Is that Anna? Yes, it is. That's Anna. Okay. From there, we're going to go to Shannon Lee's picture from Campobello Island.
Nice. Look
There
at
we
that.
go.
Got the boat right underneath. Look at that.
Yeah, we're getting them from all over the place. That's great. Gail Richardson's picture of the snow moon here. And we're going to keep going a little bit further. We got Marianne Gillette. Thank you, Gail. Marianne Gillette's capture here.
Nice.
Nice. Everybody's getting them in the trees. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jan Harris's shots, he says, setting in the morning. So there you go.
Wow.
A lot of people don't think about the moon set, catching that one. They always think about the moon rise, but not the moon
Yeah,
set.
exactly.
Well, it's in that photo. We got a nice steeple there, a couple of birds in flight,
Yeah,
moon coming up.
well done.
Or was that setting or coming up? Setting.
That's setting, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to a couple other ones here. We probably know this one, Paul.
Oh, I've seen that one before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's we have a
picture on
very,
social media this week. That's for sure. This one, yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of hellos, but it's a very old church. That's the cathedral
Yeah.
in St. John, and yeah, the moon was coming up, and I thought because I went to St. John to shoot just something. Anyway, I was very fortunate to be able to get that.
Well
Yeah.
done.
Well done. And this one as well.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that's my favorite of them. That's those are the new cranes. For those who aren't familiar with St. John, I haven't been there for a while.
Mm.
We've installed 6 cranes because our harbor is becoming extremely busy, and I wanted an industrial look with the moon coming up with an industrial foreground, and because of the smoke and the lights and all that, I thought it kind of cool that industry meets astronomy, right? And that was kind of the theme.
Industrial foreground in St. John, really?
Yeah.
For those who don't know.
Where was that
What's
taken
really
from, Paul?
cool about that photo is for anybody who hasn't seen the moonrise right at the horizon, a full moon, because of the refraction of the light, it's not even round. It's just so squashed and so distorted. If you look at the very bottom of the moon,
Yeah.
it's just kind of fragmenting.
Yeah.
The light's just totally ripping it apart. But you also, because of that, you get that absolutely gorgeous orange glow. And that's what is so attractive about a moon like that, right? So if you can get them just as they're coming up, and it doesn't matter what moon, as long as it's a full moon, as long as it's coming up very close to the horizon, you'll get these absolutely wonderful colors.
Mhm.
And they're just such great things because orange works with everything.
That's right. But try to find a word that rhymes with the words. That's a really tough part.
Yeah, yeah. And what's cool too is if you use the proper distance and the proper lens, you can make those moons look so huge. You get that moon illusion, right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the buildings below it, they look kind of dwarf, but we know that the moon's about half the size of our pinky if you stretch your arm out, right? So,
Yeah.
so it doesn't look that way. So
So where was this taken from? Where were you
I was
standing?
at, Reversing Falls,
Mhm.
the tourism part, like where you used to
Okay.
that walkout is.
Yeah.
It was right there. I stood there and I caught it there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the final one was here.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, if you look at the tiny little car on the street,
Yeah.
and the big moon above it, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. I shot that from what's it called? The Merchant Marine.
The Navy position down there on the water.
Yeah, underneath the walkway from the Red Road, I call it.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So and so I shot it from there, and I just thought that the orange glow in the windows and the moon itself made for kind of a cool picture.
There's lots of nice spots around St. John to capture, images like that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully that'll inspire somebody to go out in St. John or any city, because what makes the moon really interesting, if you can get a really cool foreground, and Brad Perry is a master at it now. He does so much stuff out of the Fredericton area.
Yeah.
And he kind of inspired me to get back and try to get those. So.
Right. Oh, nicely done.
Oh, thanks.
We're gonna go from there to Mr. PFO Observatory's picture. Bino Bud from last week.
Last week.
Mellow at 11, right?
No 111 yet. If you zoom in, you can actually see stars because everybody commented, I don't see anything. What's in the circle?
Yeah.
There you go. There's the stars in the circle. But it's Mel 111.
So Bino Buds are real. You can really go out and see these things. So
Yes.
yeah. So see if you can catch one from this week. Great stuff, Mike. I'm gonna add. I think I got a couple more pictures here. Rebecca Melanson. Now she added this one.
That's
Sent this one to me as a message, and she said, "Either I'm not sure if I can post on the group, seeing as this is more meteorology. Sure, you can post anything for sure, but I'm very curious to know what type of clouds I saw in tonight's sky." She said, "They were incredible. I'm hoping that you may know or be able to point me in the right direction." So I sent her on to Kayla Mitchell, the local weatherman, and I said, "Well, maybe send it to him because he'd probably have a much better reply than I would on meteorological effect." But I'm waiting for an answer back to see what he said. But this is a beautiful capture.
That's really amazing. I've never seen anything like that.
I couldn't really say what it was.
Wow.
I love
I thought
that.
maybe the snowbirds went by, and they did all the tails.
Oh, it was Starlings. Yeah,
There
it's
you go, Starlings.
exhaust from the Starlings.
Nicely shot, though.
It's beautiful.
Thanks
It
for
really-
sharing that with us, Rebecca. Robert Cadet gave us this one here. I get this late in the day from Robert, so I have an updated rosette for you. It says a Hubble palette, 1 hour exposure, processed in Serial, Graxpert, and Photoshop.
There you
That's
go.
another,
Sure.
Nice
That's
cluster
all.
right in the center of that, eh?
yeah, that's another
another one
C-star,
for
Z,
C-star.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another Jen for Jen.
That's
Yeah,
really impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is, eh?
Impressive little scopes. They are.
It's amazing the detail you can get from such a little scope.
Mm. And I think I got one final one.
Oh,
That's when she last visited us.
Remember
Yeah. Hold on. Am I actually in that photo? There's
I think
Kirsten.
you're
Yeah.
standing. I think you're over here.
That's us over there. Yeah, because we
Yeah.
were chatting quite a bit. Oh man, good times.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun.
yeah.
That was so much fun.
That's John Reed, I think, up there on
That
the,
is
Yeah.
left.
right there.
Yeah, I dragged him around the province with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
That was a
Kurt
fun
and
night, Jenna.
That was super
Yeah,
fun.
it was a
That
lot of
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
I just I put out the call for everybody in the local club. Can I get some support? Because we got somebody coming by here. I really want to show her what we can do down here in St. John. And I just put the call out, and I just saw vehicle after vehicle showing up, and I got all choked up the whole bit.
It was
This
was
is-
incredible. It was such a great turnout and so many people who were so excited. I was massively impressed and it was such a good night.
Yeah, it was a lot
Yeah,
of
it
fun.
was a nice and clear night. Too. Beautiful.
Yeah. So you're always invited back again, Jenna. If you want to get us all out, out for a night, all you got to do is say that you're on your way, and I can get everybody
Maybe,
together.
maybe you can bring the weather with you.
Yeah. Okay, so if you have any photos and you'd like to share them, we love getting them and we love sharing them on our broadcast. So all you have to do is send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com and we'll be happy to put them up on our next broadcast.
Oh.
So I'm gonna just move on just for 1 second from there. I didn't really get a chance to copy what kind of events. I got my cat scratching on my door here. Just a second. There you go.
Cat scratch fever.
Yeah, that's supposed to be. That's Molly. She likes to sleep in the closet and all of a sudden she comes out. So
Good golly, Miss Molly.
he doesn't really care what I'm doing. Anyway, this is a calendar put up by Lisa Fanning. Lisa's Look Up Astronomy and More. So she puts out this calendar every month, and you can go to her page, Facebook, and download it. She puts out this column with events, what events are happening this month, the dates of the event, the peak times, the best time to see it, and what you need for seeing tools, either a naked eye, binoculars, or a telescope. And if you'd like to get a copy of that, just go to follow Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Mastodon, Facebook, Threads, and now on Blue Sky. And I'm on Blue Sky, but I'm not really on Blue Sky yet. I'm just starting to get down that road. I have a hard enough time trying to get on Facebook, let alone Instagram, Blue Sky. And I still got to work full-time hours. So anyway, and this is another one here. Lisa's Look Up Astronomy More too. So you can download her highlights for 2025. Downloadable copy at that same page. So go take a look at Lisa's Look Up Astronomy and More. And I'll bring up our word out. Did I pass it? I did pass it.
You think you did?
At our local calendar. Somewhere. I thought, oh well, that's okay. We'll get out of that.
All right.
Yeah, I just need a
Well,
minute
there.
to finish up.
Well, that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yes. So thank you so much, Jenna, for
Joining
spending
us,
some time with us here.
Thanks for having me. It was good. It was great to hang out with you guys again. It's always fun.
Yeah.
We could just, hanging out, having a good time.
Anytime.
It was a great show. That's our show for this evening, everybody. I'll hope that you enjoyed the program tonight. I'm stuttering a little bit, but that's okay. Special thanks goes out to Jenna for joining us this evening. Jenna, it was a great pleasure having you on. Please come back anytime. We'd love to see you back on the show. And don't forget, open invitation to Saints Rest Beach too when you're passing through.
I will shoot you a message next time I'm in town. Yeah.
Awesome. Great.
Awesome.
Our special thanks too goes out to Rosanna for another interesting fun fact. Thank you, Rosanna. That was a great timely topic again. And a special thanks to all of you who share our program with your friends and family as well. To remember that we do love sharing your photos, so send them in to astronomybythebay@gmail.com and we'll be happy to put them up on our next broadcast. Okay, so then until next week, wishing all of you clear skies. As we like to say, open your eyes to view the skies and keep your scopes pointed up.
Bring it up.
Good night, everybody.
Night.